Hi there, welcome back to Art 105. This week we're going to be doing contour drawing, and so I just wanted to show you some examples. I did put some examples in the module, so check those out. There's a step-by-step where I use still images, and hopefully you guys will find that helpful. There's also just an example that I put up just so you guys can just see what I'm looking for. All right. In fact, you can see that example. It's right here. I just did this in my book. Actually did it a couple weeks ago, but you can see it now. There it is. It's a contour drawing. So again, contour drawing is where you are just using, where it's basically just drawing the perceived edge of any object, shape, or form. So you can see the line is describing like the edge. There's no shading involved. And so this is like the shadow back here, but I don't fill it in. You don't shade it in. You just draw the outline of it, the edge of any shape that you see, any form. There's lots of different values and stuff in here. I just kind of like grouped them, like that was a darker part of the wood, and so on. Like right here, these are shadows. So you just draw the shadows. You don't shade them in, okay? And so it's basically just an outline. And so that's the example that you'll see in there. I'm not going to go over it exhaustively now because it's in the module. And I want to just kind of show you, I did drive up to my classroom and got a bunch of my examples up there, so just so you could see some other examples. Here you go. This is another kind of contour drawing. And so you can see, again, there's no shading in these. You just outline any of the shadows or highlights or changes in color. You just outline them. So you might see like in this ceramic Kermit the Frog mug, if there's a highlight in there, you just draw those little highlights. Or if there's shadows, just changes in the colors, just outline them, okay? No shading at all. All right, so there's an example. These are a bunch of different examples that I've done at Green River. And this is a kind of a cool one because it shows the process. This is a demo that I did. And this is pretty neat because it shows like the gesture sketching, which you guys practiced last week. That's why it's so important. So hopefully you guys are practicing the gesture drawing, getting that, just establishing kind of like the base, the foundation of the object. So it's just kind of that quick sketch, just getting something in place. That way you can modify it. You can always push a form a little bit this way or pull it back. It's almost like clay, like drawing. You get to like kind of push and pull it and get it into the shapes that you really want. And so after you've kind of got like a really loose kind of sketch, building that foundation for it, that's a good time when you want to start checking, like using angles and sighting methods and stuff to ensure that you have good proportions. So, you see like, well, how wide is an object? Okay, if it's that wide, how tall is it? So it's 1 unit wide, there's 1 unit, it's about 2 units tall right there. And then, looking for sighting angles, like from this point to that point, what does that look like? And holding out your pencil to find out those angles and whatnot. Looking at negative space, you did that a couple weeks ago, seeing that space as shape. And so this is a space between this object and another object over here. And so if you can draw that shape, that will help you place them. It also helps you from keeping your head moving around. As you guys can probably see, like in like a still life, like there's this negative space that's right in here. But if I move just a little bit, you see, like that space changes a lot. So you want to be, when you're drawing, you want to be very still. You don't want your head to move along. Anyway, we talked about that before, but just to kind of go over it again. Also, that blind contour. Now, I know that's an exercise, but it also helps you in your drawing. If you're having a tough time seeing a form or a shape, just try a blind contour. Just draw it blind for a while. You don't have to make it this dark, but I just did this as an example. But you can kind of see, like, I did the blind contour, and is it perfect? No, it's not. But if you're having a tough time with a shape or something, so oftentimes a blind contour can really help because you're actually drawing what you see as opposed to what you think you see. So, also, look at shadows, see those as shapes and whatnot. So how do these start? Again, start with that loose gesture. You can kind of see like in these kind of lines what these look like when I'm sketching things out. Very kind of loose. The skull here is getting a little bit more attention. but it's still pretty loose. And then once you've kind of established your forms, you just replace it with those sketchy lines with that slow, smooth, exacting contour line. And you don't just draw right over the top. You want to take another look at them to make sure that they're right. These ones, again, these are your exploratory marks. And then before you finalize them, look at them again and really trust your eyes and make changes as needed. Okay? So you can see, like, here's a couple of demos. These were done on the same day. Slightly different views, but pretty close to the same drawing here. And so this one didn't quite get as finished, but you can kind of see what's nice about this, and why I'm going to show it to you, is that you can kind of see like kind of those early stages of the drawing, what it might look like. There's lots of like quick sketch, quick lines, these gestural lines where you can actually see, I don't know if you can see that, but like this dragon's head, it was actually up there. That was my first initial line, it looks like. And then I just reestablish and just go back over some of these forms. And it's still not finished yet. I mean, see how kind of quick this gestural lines. Again, there's restating. It's not just one line. There's lots of lines that I'm using. And I don't erase. I just draw right over the top of it. Again, that's called restating. And so this is kind of, those early stages of how a contour drawing. It's how this one starts. It's like this is the process in which it happens. And so then after you kind of establish these gestural kind of shapes, then you finalize with that slow, smooth contour. And then it's a very exacting line, it's very deliberate, and then you can get all of those enrichment shapes. Like if there's something like right here, a design on this little pot or vase or whatever this thing is, pitcher, or in the flowers, if you see like highlights and shadows in there, you can outline those. This is a little upturned basket, overturned basket. There's like a little highlight right there. It's lighter here than it was here, so I added that. Those are just enrichment shapes, things that you see. And so anyway, you can see these are just examples. Yeah, there we go. I did this, this year. This was in the winter. There we go. There's our little gnome. It's in the class. But basically what you guys can do is set up a still life. I just picked 3 objects here that I had at home. But if you don't have I like these objects. You might not think they're cool, but I like my skull and flowers and my little ceramic bird that I found at the Goodwill. Think about like when you're doing your drawing, like how do you want it to be arranged? Do you want a lot of negative space over here? Do you want it centered? Think about like what looks good. We're not going to go over a lot about composition right now, but think about how you want to arrange them. You're like, oh, that doesn't look right. I'll move it a little bit here or whatever it is. So this is your drawing, so make it look as good as possible. And it doesn't really matter what your objects are. I mean, seriously, like if you don't have much, like in your apartment or home or whatever you're at right now, wherever quarantine has led you, just grab whatever you can find. Like I have kids' toys, which I'm pretty fortunate, like you can use those. If you don't have anything, like really, I mean, you probably have some sort of food. So just grab your lunch, like maybe this banana is not all that interesting to draw, but like open it up, peel it, make it kind of a cool shape out of it. Use your half-eaten sandwich. That's totally fine. Grab some shoes or whatever it is, and just make it kind of a cool still life. All right. And again, if sometimes people might wonder, like, what do you want to start off with? I just recommend starting off with something light. Oftentimes people like to start off with like the 2H. I don't really use the 2H and the F so much, or like the 2HH or whatever. I usually just start with an HB, and I do a lot of my drawing, the sketching with the HB. And then if I want to add a darker line or something, I might go like a 2B or something like that. But I think really you could pretty much do this whole drawing with just like an HB. I think that might be what I did. I can't even remember, but that's likely what I would do. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, again, let me know. But happy drawing this week, okay? All right, take care.